MSc Part 2, Semester 4, Paper 4, Unit 4, Chemical Safety and Handling the Chemicals. The first concept is chemical safety. Chemical safety information. The general information in the chemical safety. Before using any chemicals, even if it is something that you have worked with at home or in other situation, it is important to understand what the hazards may be and how to work with it safely. In order to assess the hazards of particular chemicals, both the physical and health hazards of chemical must be considered. Generally, more information is available about physical hazards than health hazards. An overview of basic toxicology and physical hazards follows. Before using any chemicals, the container label and SDS or other appropriate sources should be reviewed to determine what condition of use may pose a hazard. Accident with hazardous chemical can happen quickly and may be quite severe. The key to prevention of this accident is awareness. Physical hazards of chemicals. The physical hazards of chemical includes its flammability and reactivity. Flammability is the tendency of a chemical to burn. The flash point or to ignition temperature and flammable limits of the material be found in the SDS and are helpful in assessing the potential for a fire hazard under specified condition. Reactivity is the potential of the material to explode or react violently with air, water or other substances upon contact. The SDS furnishes this information in the stability and the reactivity data section. The next is health hazards of chemicals. The health effect of hazardous chemical are often less clear than the physical hazards. Data on the health effect of chemical exposure, especially from chronic exposure, are often incomplete. When discussing the health effect of chemical, two terms are often used interchangeably, toxicity and hazards. However, the actual meaning of these words are quite different. Then toxicity is the ability of chemical substance to cause harm, and hazard is the likelihood that a chemical material will cause harm under the condition of use. Thus, with the proper handling, even highly toxic chemicals can be used safely. Conversely, less toxic chemicals can be extremely hazardous if handled improperly. The actual health risk of chemical depends on the toxicity and the actual exposure. No matter how toxic the material may be, there is little risk involved unless it enters the body. An assessment of the chemical toxicity and the possible routes of entry will help determine what protective measures should be taken. The next is routes of entry, skin and eye contact. The simplest way for chemicals to enter the body is through direct contact with the skin or eyes. Skin contact with chemical may result in local reaction such as a burn or rash or absorption into the bloodstream. Absorption into the bloodstream may then allow the chemical to cause toxic effect on other parts of body. The absorption of chemical through the intact skin is influenced by the health of skin and the properties of the chemicals. Skin that is dry or cracked or has laceration offers less resistance. Wear gloves and other protective clothing to minimize skin exposure. See personal protective equipment for more information. Symptoms of skin exposure includes dry, whitened skin, redness and swelling, rash or blister, and itching in the event of chemical contact on skin. Rinse the affected area with water for at least 50 minutes. Removing clothing while rinsing if necessary. Seek medical attention if symptoms persist. Chemical contact with eyes can be particularly dangerous, resulting in painful injury or blindness. Wearing safety goggles or a face shield can reduce the risk of eye contact. Eyes that have been in contact with chemicals should be rinsed immediately with water continuously. For at least 15 minutes, contact lenses should be removed while rinsing. Do not delay rinsing to remove the lenses. Seconds count. Medical attention is necessary if symptoms persist. Inhalation. The lungs are the most common route of entry for gases, vapors, and particles. Such a material may harm tissue in the lungs or enters into the bloodstream. Most chemicals have an odor that are persistible at the certain concentration, referred to as odor threshold. Olfactory fatigue may occur when exposure to high concentration or after prolonged exposure to some substances. This may cause the odor to seem to diminish or disappear, while the dangers of overexposure may remain. Symptoms of overexposure may include headache, increased mucus production, and eyes, nose, and throat irritation. Narcotics effect, including confusion, dizziness, drowsiness, or collapse, may result from exposure to some substances, including many common hydrocarbon solvents. In the event of exposure, close containers, open window, or otherwise increase ventilation, and move to fresh air. If some symptom persists, seek medical attention. Chemicals that produce vapor should be used in a well-ventilated area or with local exhaust ventilation. Occasionally, general ventilation may not be adequate and local exhaust ventilation may not be feasible, making it necessary to use a respirator. The use of respirator is subject to prior review by EHS according to the university policy, since their use is regulated by the Federal Occupational Safety and Health Administration Respiratory Protection Standard. See respiratory use of more information. Next is ingestion. The gastrointestinal tract is another possible route of entry for toxic substances. Although it is unlikely that anyone would accidentally eat chemicals, exposure may occur as the result of eating or drinking contaminated food or a beverage, or touching the mouth with contaminated hands. The possibility of exposure by this route may be reduced by not eating, drinking, smoking, or storing food in the area where chemicals are used or stored, and by washing hands thoroughly after working with chemicals, even when gloves are worn. In the event of accidental ingestion, immediately go to employee health at Makosh Health Center or contact the poison control center at but instruction. Do not induce vomiting unless directed to by the health care professional. Next is ingestion. Injection. The final possible routes of exposure to chemicals is that accidental injection. Injection may occur through the mishap with syringe needle or through accident with broken glassware or other sharp objects that have been contaminated with chemicals. If accidental injection has occurred, wash the area with soap and water and seek medical attention if necessary. Cautious use of any sharp object is always critical. Then next is health hazards of chemical exposure. The effects of chemical exposure to a person will vary depending on the actual amount of the chemicals to which person was exposed and how hazardous the chemical actually is. The next is toxic effect of chemicals. The toxic effect of chemicals may be local or systematic. Local injuries involve the area of the body in contact with the chemicals. For example, if you spill an acid on your arm, the effect will be on your arm. Systematic injuries involve tissues or organs other than the contact site where the toxins have been transported through the bloodstream. For example, methanol that has been swallowed may cause blindness. Certain chemicals may affect a target organ. For example, lead primarily affects the brain, kidney, and red blood cells. Some solvent may harm the liver and kidney. It is important to distinguish between acute and chronic exposure and toxicity Acute toxicity results from the single shot exposure. Effects usually appear quickly and are usually reversible. Chronic toxicity results from a repeated exposure over a long period of time. Effects are usually delayed and granules and may be irreversible. For example, the acute effect of drinking alcohol is becoming drunk, while the chronic effect from drinking alcohol over a long period of time is cirrhosis of liver. Next point is susceptibility of individuals. Then what is the susceptibility? Some people may be more or less sensitive to specific chemical depending on several factors including eating habit, physical condition, obesity, medical condition, drinking and smoking, and pregnancy. Over a period of time, regular exposure to some substance can lead to development of an allergic rash, breathing difficulty, or other reaction. This phenomena is referred as sensitization. Over time, this effect may occur with exposure to smaller and smaller amount of chemicals, but will disappear soon after the exposure stops. For reasons not fully understood, not everyone exposed to sensitizer will experience this reaction. Example of sensitizer include epoxy resin, nickel-sat, isocyanate, and formaldehyde. The last point is particularly hazardous substance carcinogens. Many chemicals have been evaluated for their ability to cause cancer, and the latency period for most cancer range from 20 to 40 years. The risk of developing cancer from exposure a chemical increases with the length of exposure and with the exposure concentration. It is important to understand the distinction between human carcinogens and suspected human carcinogens. The term human carcinogen is used when there is clear evidence of the ability to cause cancer in human. Suspected human carcinogen refers to chemicals that have been shown to cause cancer in two or more animal species and are therefore suspect in humans. Anyone who works with or plans to work with carcinogens or suspected carcinogens must follow state guidelines to minimize exposure. For a particular substance, the toxicological information sections of the safety data sheet will state whether or not the substance is considered a carcinogen by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Thank you. The next point is reproductive toxin. The reproductive toxins are chemicals which affect the reproductive system, including the mutagens, tetragones, and embryotoxin. Embryotoxins may be lethal to the fertilized egg, embryo, or fetus may be tetragonic to cause fetal. May retard the growth or may cause postnatal functional defects. Other reproductive toxins may cause a sterility or may affect the sperm mortality. Some chemicals may across the placenta, affecting the fetus. The developing fetus may be more sensitive to some chemicals than its pregnant mother, particularly during the first 12 weeks for pregnancy, when the mother may not be she is pregnant. Proper handling of chemicals and use of protective equipment is especially important to reduce fetal exposure to chemicals. Human tetragones include the organic mercury compound, lead compound, ionic radiation, some drugs, alcohol ingestion, and cigarette smoking. Some substances which may cause adverse reproductive effect in males includes 1,2-dibromine, 3-chloropropane, cadmium, mercury, boron, lead, some pesticides, and some drugs. More than 800 chemicals have been shown the tetragonic in animal model. Many of these are suspected human tetragones. Individuals who work with tetragones and who are contemplating pregnancy or are pregnant should review the toxicity of the chemicals in their workplace and may consult with EHS to determine whether any of the material pose additional risk during the pregnancy. Where to find toxicity information? Toxicity information may be found in safety data sheets SDS, in the hazards identification and toxicological information section or product labels, in the registry of toxic effect of chemical substances or many other sources listed on the safety datasheet page. For more than contact EHS at 609 258 5294. Thank you.